right in the kisser.
How the devil are you? So what we got? Why are you order? Right, have a look at this, will you? Look what I got.
One name brings you all the worst ideas in a hi-fi tower system. Amstrad. All the features, including a graphic equalizer which is pretty crap. And now, Amstrad brings shitty plastic remote controls within your grasp for a laughable £179. Or choose Amstrad's TS88 tower with twin cassette decks so you can poorly pirate tapes too. And enjoy remote control for a rip-off £199 or discover Amstrad's shit module stereos at the touch of a button, the motorized deck. Glides out to collect your record then never goes back in again. Paying just £149 for continued disappointment. And £169 for one awful system after another. From Boots, Clydesdale, Comet, Co-op, Currys, Dixon's, Graham Bag, Target, Discount, Woolworth, and Northern Scotland Hydroelectric.
I bought this on Facebook Marketplace for the princely sum of £20. I think I overpaid. Now, this is an Amstrad SM102. Now, I think Techmoan, he had one of these, and it was the SM101. It's a single tape deck. I've got the twin tape deck, okay? So it's Amstrad SM102, I think. So this has the twin tape decks. And researching this, I found out that Amstrad were one of the early adopters of twin tape decks, recording one tape deck to another. And they got in a lot of trouble with the music industry. More on that later. But I think they might have even been the first ones to incorporate twin tape decks into their systems. And a legal battle ensued. But yeah, so Amstrad was kind of synonymous with the looks good, sounds crap. Okay, so they had the looks, and they were probably more affordable than separate systems, but the sound of them was pretty poor, which we'll find out later doing this video. We'll do a sound test and whatever. Okay, so what Alan Sugar's vision was to have something for the working man, people who couldn't afford these separate systems. And I fell into that trap of buying one of these. I didn't have this exact one. I had the Amstrad tower system with the cabinet, which comes built into the cabinet with the record storage and the separate speakers. That's what I bought. I think it was from Argos, I think, which is a mail order catalogue in the UK. And I went to my friend's house, and his brother had a Toshiba separate system, and he put a record on, and I was like, whoa. You know, the difference in sound quality on that separate system to the Amstrad was night and day. I was like, geez, what the flip. So then I ended up, I think it broke down, that Amstrad system anyway, and I ended up getting a Pioneer separate stack system. And I can see the appeal of these, because that stack system in 1983 cost me around about £800 then. Okay, so what's that? It's about £2,000 now, is it? Right? And this was £169 to buy, and you had everything. So you got a record deck, a twin tape deck, a tuner, speakers. Okay, £169. Now, what's mad is that for that today, the value of that is about £550, okay? So for £550 a day, you could buy a pretty decent system. Look, right, you could get a Wii Mini, Fozzy Audio V3, and a set of Daddy Spectre 2 speakers for 390 quid, okay? And you would get it, you get, and that obviously, because you've got internet on it, you get radio and everything, right? Get all your music, whatever. And that would sound immeasurably better than this, okay? Like, leaps and bounds, like unbelievably better, okay? 390. So, back in the day, this is the only choice we had. Got a lot more choice today to get better quality hi-fi systems. Anyway, let's bring you in for a closer look of it. And here it is. Ta-da! Right. So look, you got a headphone socket. Don't need a headphone amplifier. Got a headphone socket. You got rumble, and that'll take out some of the low frequencies. That's probably for a warped record. It's like a filter. You put that on, and it cuts out some of the low frequencies if you've got a warped record, and it'll get rid of them. I don't know how well that worked. We'll try and test it later. Scratch, I think that takes some of the top end off. If you've got a scratchy record, it'll help to take that off. You've got tone controls, treble, balance, bass. I don't know how many plus and minus dB that is. And it's all detented all the way along. Okay. That's a smooth motion, detented in the center. You've got a loudness button. Nice. You've got mono and stereo button here. So mono and stereo button, that's if you're using the FM. If it sounds a bit hissy, you can put it into mono and it'll kind of cut that hissiness out. Volume, again, that's detented all the way along. Your power button, I think AFC, that's auto frequency control and beat. So auto frequency control stops the station drifting. And if you've got two stations very close together, the beat stops them drifting into each other. And that's what it's for. Modern tuners, more modern tuners will have this built in. You've got a mute button. Having it built in makes a lot more sense. Why do you need to press it? It should just be on all the time. You've got your functions, your inputs, so tape, phono, FM, medium wave, long wave. Obviously, long wave and medium wave now, you won't get much on them. Yeah, tuning knob feels good. Yeah, nice and weighty. Got your twin tape deck. This one's the play, this one's the record. It's funny to have them on it. All the ones I've seen later on were they'd be the other way around. Okay, you've got a tape counter. You can put a microphone in so you can record yourself singing. Hear a phone, hear a move. And here you go, pub singer. You've got a noise reduction. It's not Dolby noise reduction. It's probably some generic one they've put in, right? And it'll play normal CR02, so chrome tapes and metal tapes. And then you've got your turntable at the bottom. Now, you would normally, you push that and it would come out automatically. Let's put it on phone though and give it some power. Okay, so you would, that's supposed to make it come out and go back in. These broke very easily apparently because people would be, when it's halfway out, they push in and go, meh, 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 right? Or kids messing with it. So they break very easily, these two. It might just be a belt in it. Potentially I could fix it. We'll have a look later. Okay. So I put it out like that. And this would come out and this would drop down. So it looks really cool. It looks cool. And inside is the most cheapest turntable I've ever seen in my life. It's all sprung loaded to stop it, you know, give it some suspension and whatever. Everything's plastic. Got your function here, so that's your 45 and that's your 33. You've got an arm lift here. There's no thing to stick over it. It just pushes onto that, okay? The arm lift that was on there is gone, snapped off by the look of it. The arm lift lifts up, goes across, you put it on, and then drop that down there. Okay, but there's no soft drop function, it just falls. There you go, right. Okay, let's put a record on. Let's try it all out. Let's see what we got going first. So let's try the radio, okay? Now, or with the speakers, so the speakers, for whatever reason, they've taken off the plugs off the back of them to go into the back of the HiFi. Now, I'd imagine they probably used the speakers on something else, something, you know, them plugs wouldn't fit into, so they cut them off and used the speakers elsewhere. But it didn't come with the plug, so I've had to just shove the wires in the back for now. And you don't really know which is negative and positive, so I've had to guess. Okay, there you go. But they're in there anyway. And also with the radio, it didn't come with an antenna. I've ordered an antenna, so I'll include that in the video. It's like a telescopic antenna. I thought that might work. But right at the moment, I've just put some aerial coaxial in the back to give it a bit of a signal. And perhaps the telescopic aerial will give it a better signal. Okay. So let's have a look. See if we got power on. Whoa, what was that? Let's get it on FM.
Gosh, you work with so many people. This is...
I can't stay on the stations for too long.
Gwerthu arall neta, ac o'n i'n wrth fy modd, ach dwi'n...
There's the language of my homeland.
So mae yna lot o gyfleoedd sydd yn mynd tu hwnt, just golygu.
That's a bit crackly.
Na,
Might need some contact spray on that.
digidol, pwysica na eraill.
GPs, we've got a hospital that was graded inadequate, one of the worst.
I notice it's slightly out because that's radio 2 and it should be 89.9. You can see that it needs a bit of adjusting. It's slightly out there, but it's still tuning in. And also what I noticed when I've used it is when it goes up here, let's get it up quicker. It's a lot of stations up here, but it's not picking any up at all. And perhaps that telescopic aerial will make it a bit better. But the radio's working, okay. And let me just get it. I'm going to get it to where someone's talking. So then you can see you've got a loudness button here. And the mono will take the hiss away. Does that work? No. Nothing seems to happen there. No. You can hear it taking the bass away. So that's... You shouldn't really hear that. You shouldn't hear it really taking the bass away. So it's taking the... I reckon that's taking the bass away under 50 hertz. Yeah, not good. But it works. Anyway, let's try the tape deck. What's with that hiss? Oh, that's with the noise reduction on. My God. Blimey. Oh, I didn't. So the stereo or mono works for the whole thing, not just the radio. Wow. Wow. Okay, let's see if we can get any of this working here. Nothing. And it's playing very slow. It's odd that it's getting no sound though, at all. Let's put the noise reduction on, take the hiss away. Ooh, still noisy. Well, not getting anything out of that one. It's not forwarding. Oh, it'll rewind. Go forward. We'll try changing, and again, I'll try changing the belts on this. Let's try this one. I mean, don't forget, this is 1983, this came out. So what's that? 93, 2003, 2013. It's 43 years old. So 42 years old. So them belts are going to be hanging, I reckon. Will this do anything? A little bit. At least I got some noise coming out of it. Well, the good thing is that those belts, if they're still turning, it means they're still intact and they haven't gone to mush. So that's a good thing. Right, let's have a look at this turntable now. Let's put a record on. Now, when I got this turntable, when I first put it out, the amount of dust that was on the stylus was insane. Years of dust and dirt on it. So I gave it a good clean. It probably does need changing. But look, I'm not going to keep this. It's not something I intend to keep. So let's give it a go. You've got to pull it off there. And then let's get it going. Well, straight away, I can tell that is not 45. Well, let's put it on phone now. Right, so that's... Oh. Right. That is not going at the right speed. Do you know what? This thing is so bad. It's so terrible, right? That I'm not going to bother doing anything else to it. I'm not even going to attempt to repair it, put new belts on. I've had enough of it. It sounds bloody awful. It's so cronky and rubbish. It's just terrible. Now, here's the thing with these hi-fis, right? So back in the 80s, these were being sold in their thousands, right? People were buying them because they were cheap compared to other components. But the problem was, we didn't have the internet, forums, YouTube, or anything like that, right? It was just word of mouth. We couldn't get any information from anywhere. So I bought this, and you think, well, is that it? Is that what hi-fi sound like? Had I had not gone to my friend's house and listened to a true separate hi-fi system, I would have never have known how good they are compared to this piece of shit, right? Alan Sugar tucked us right up. Let's hear what he has to say about it.
I looked at the new electronics and hi-fi industry with the eye of a working-class punter. I didn't know everything about the innards of component systems, and I didn't want to. I knew what people would buy. Putting all the different parts of a music system together, I invented the hi-fi tower. It revolutionized the industry, and it sold in its millions. My name for this appeal to the masses was the Mug's Eiffel. I believed that most people wanted something that had lights, dials, and features on it. More importantly, they wanted it to work well and be cheap. Top-range quality was only for top-range buyers, a very small percentage of the market. Making it look good was the important thing. Alan M. Sugar Trading, or Amstrad, was slowly becoming a household word. I was producing equipment at a fraction of the cost of my competitors, with similar specifications, and it was proudly British. The qualities that brought me to the position I now occupied stayed with me. I refused to have too much to do with the technical side of the business. I knew what I needed to know to get people designing, supplying or modifying at the pace and price I wanted. I firmly believed I stood for the no-nonsense British consumer. This often led me and Amstrad down rocky paths. I started selling twin cassette decks, obviously for copying tape to tape. A court case ensued with Amstrad versus the music industry, and I stuck to my guns. Not to put too fine a point on it, I bloody won.
What's happened to Alan Sugar's voice? Anyway, proudly British, proud of this nonsense, okay? Now, there are cheap components out today. You can still buy budget under £100 record players in a case and all that nonsense, right? However, people know, a lot more people know that they are rubbish, okay? Because we've got a lot more information out there on these things. So my advice would be to save up and buy something decent. Anyway, let's take it apart. I was gonna try and fix it up and maybe sell it on to make my 20 quid back. But do you know what? I don't care. The 20 quid's gone. I'm going to strip it down, have a look inside, then chuck it in the bin. Because it's awful. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. Anyway, let's get into it and have a look. So this thing is all glued on. It's a sealed box. There's no way into it. It's all glued on. These are fake screws here. They're actually screws because you can see they've actually rusted. They've corroded a little bit. They're just fake plastic. So I'm going to have to try and get in here and try and lever it off. I don't care if it bloody breaks. Who cares? Okay, so you can see here. Look at it. There's not even a tweeter in it. It's a fake tweeter. Just got this one speaker here, which is 8 watts, 4 ohms. Got the size of the magnet. Terrible. Awful. And do you know what? Look at that. Just an empty box. There's no wadding. There's no sound dampening material in there. Nothing. It's just awful. Absolutely terrible. My God, no wonder it sounds so bad. Okay, I've taken it all apart. I didn't show you me stripping it down. There's a couple of screws on the side, a couple of screws on the back. Bob's your uncle. This video's gone on far longer than I wanted it to, but I just wanted to show you the inside of it. So that big box there, this is what's in it. Just this thing. All these components here. A lot of it's cheap components. Not a lot of chips in there, really. I think it's about 4, maybe. You've got a semiconductor down over here somewhere. Where's that? There. And there's a stereo modulator around here somewhere. This is the amp. Okay, that's the amp there. And it's an NEC dual power amplifier. 4.2 watts per channel into 4 ohms. So not a lot of power. That's why the speakers are 4 ohms. Yeah, so you're not getting a lot of power from that. So 8.4 watts total into 4 ohms. On the specs, it says 20 watts max power or something like that, just to fool you into thinking it's a bit more powerful than what it is. But into 8 ohms, that would be ridiculous. Like so low, would be ridiculous. Yeah, so not a lot of stuff in there. Ironically, though, if you look at the, see if I can get that there. If you look at the, let's get it at the right angle. It's actually, you know, compared to today's tape systems, this isn't actually that bad. It's not bad at all. It's a lot better than what you would get today, these modern tape decks. And on the back, it's got, that's a metal wheel there, look, metal. Here you can see how this slides out. So there's a motor here. That motor has to power this whole thing, which is quite weighty, probably underpowered. It goes along this pulley system here with this cog there. See that cog turning around? And you can see why it wasn't working. There's the belt there for it, which goes on there. That's why it wasn't pulling out. So it just needed to replace the rubber belt. If I was going to keep it, I probably would have just put a new belt on there. No point putting the old one on because it'd probably slip off. But that's it. So there you go. Amstrad. I think I've done my bit for the hi-fi community by ridding it of another Amstrad hi-fi system. Absolute pile of poop. Definitely gets my UTV stamp of unapproval. Okay. And this can go firmly in the bin. I will catch you in the next one.